Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nur Zaidi Sahid, and I will be your moderator for our talk tonight. So welcome to the Research Methods for Information Professional Lecture. And this is our first series of research methodology talk, mainly for MKM 720, MIS 703, and IM 950. So this is the first session from the 4 series throughout this semester. It is my pleasure to welcome you here in the cyberspace, and I would like to thank you for joining us today for the special presentations on developments of research framework. This is the topic that you should concern, since it is critical for your research proposal development process. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce our guest lecturer tonight. He's going to talk to us about the research framework development process. Will you please welcome to the screen Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Nick Zulkarnaen bin Khidzir. Assalamualaikum, and how are you, Doctor?
Okay, welcome salam and very good evening. So it's my pleasure to be invited as a guest lecturer for this session. Thank you very much.
Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Nick Zulkarnaen Khidzir currently is the head of Research Cluster Creative Innovations and Digital Technology and heads of departments from the Faculty of Creative Technology and Heritage. He is also a fellow in the Center of Computing and Informatics, University Malaysia Kelantan. He received his MSc Information Technology in 2006 from UiTM and PhD in IT and Mathematical Science from UiTM in 2013. He is certified MBOT Professional Technologist, Associate Professor, Faculty of Creative Technology and Heritage, and his research interests are advanced methods for educational technology, multimedia and visual communication interactions in Islamic perspective, software engineering, cybersecurity risk, information security risk management, entrepreneurial leaderships, business and education computing, e-commerce, and creative computing related project. As an scholar in his field, he actively delivers keynote speech in international conferences globally and prolific journal chief editor, a reviewer local and international, pertaining his research interests and contribution to the body of knowledge. He has published various articles in index proceedings and high impact journals. He received various recognitions and awards in research and innovation competitions at national and international level. And he is also recognized by the Ministry of Education Malaysia as one of the top outstanding entrepreneurship mentor Malaysia in 2018. So very long list of achievements. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get the show started. Dr. Nick, the cyberspace is yours. Please.
Okay. Thank you very much for very welcoming. Briefly my profile. So thank you very much for inviting me to be your guest lecturer for this event. This program to talk about something on development of research framework. And thank also to the organizer to organize this wonderful event. So maybe with more on sharing on some of my perspective on how we're going to develop the research framework and some related theories that we need to focus, and maybe we can be a part of this discussion. So maybe without further ado, I would like to start my presentation. Okay. So basically, when we do any research or any study, doesn't matter, okay, at master or PhD level, we need to understand the fundamental aspect on research framework. So research framework is part of this exercise when we want to start any research. It doesn't matter on research, on action research or fundamental research, but as long we involve with the research, then we need to understand how to develop and what the differences between research framework, research methodology, and so on. And for tonight's session, I just want to give some understanding, or maybe from some of my experience, how we're going to develop a very good research framework, and at least at par with the standard of how the research community or scholars around the world using and preparing or develop the research framework. Okay. Okay, for tonight session, so maybe we need to focus specific on this the role of the theory. Okay, so what the underlying theories, supporting theories, and competing theories. And in tonight session also, we need to discuss on the theoretical framework versus conceptual framework, and we talk also about the research framework in quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method. And we also discuss the research variable, independent, dependent, moderating, okay, mediating, controlling, and confounding. So this is some of the basic things that everyone or scholars or any researcher need to understand how to develop the research framework based on these theories and understanding. Okay. So at the end of this session, so the student able to understand, they discuss the role of theories in development of research framework. So what are the theories that have behind any research, or maybe the basic for development of framework. Okay, doesn't matter from which field, but we need to understand and able to choose the right theory for our research. And throughout this session or this class, so we need to distinguish the differences between theoretical framework and conceptual framework. What are the main or major differences between this theory and conceptual framework? And some related research framework use either quantitative or qualitative or mixed method study, and able to explain the different type of variable used in the quantitative study. So this is the thing that maybe at the end of this session, so a student or researcher need to have some idea, okay, what the framework development is all about. Okay. Okay, before I go for that, so the role of the theory. Okay, so theory is a basis. Actually is a basic for any research. Somehow maybe when you start to any research, you need to understand the theory. What are the theories that you refer? I mean the baseline of the theory before you start any research. And then the theory requires the link of the natural world and social world and the artificial world of the human construction. Okay, and they have a lot of definition about this the theories is carry meaning about the first one, the theories refer to the mental view or contemplation or thoughts, what we think. I mean the theory, some theory that we develop, they based on the finding, so we cannot jump into a theory without doing the research or we conduct any research to support our theory. Okay. And theories also can define as a conception or mental scheme of something to be done. Okay, so there are differences between a scientific theory or maybe on non-scientific theories. They have a little bit different, but the major thing is about the perspective, the mental view, our thoughts, how we can model our finding into one theory that everyone can use that theory. Okay, and it also some refer to the systematic statement of a rules or principle to be followed. They also come at I mean some we can call about the theory, but the principle also can refer to the theory. and the system of idea statement and account to the group of facts or phenomena. Okay, in scientific, for example, we have a very simple. I also always use this example, the theory of gravity. Okay, so they conduct a lot of experiment. Anyone, I mean, any mass that falls, it shows that they have a gravity. So that's the simple example that I can share with you. And in some theories, they still at hypothesis level. Okay, and we have to conduct a few research or observation experiment in order for us to come up with the theories. Okay, before we get all the result, we have to do a lot of experiment, observation, and so on. And some theories also is about the statement that what are held to be general law, principle, or causes of something known or observed. Okay. Okay. So the role of theory. Why we need this role? Okay. Why we need the theories? So theory have a role. Okay. For example, there are four primary goals of theories. Okay. Okay. The first one is what the analysis and description. Okay, that's the first one. Number two is explanation. How we can explain, okay, the conclusion of our study in simple or in model, okay. And the role of theory also, they can give some prediction, okay, formula. For example, when you have a formula, you can do some prediction, or you can do some what we call it, this understanding about the projection, okay, the simulation. So, and the fourth primary goal of the theory is about prescription. Okay, so the major, I mean, the primary goals, these four primary goals, okay, they have differences. Some, for example, the analysis of and description. The theory provide the description about the phenomena. Okay, about how we from the analysis, then we come up the description, or we describe, okay, the finding, or interpret the finding through the analysis, and we can describe something in terms of theories. Okay, and number two, about explanation. Okay, in some study, okay, theories come as an explanation. Okay, explanation can be based on the result, based on the argument that we develop during our experiment, and how we understand. Okay, we understand and come up with the theories. Prediction, okay, they can use as a prediction and prescription. Okay, normally we use theories to state, okay, what will happen in the future. Okay, for example, about our world, you know, when we see about the, for example, about the environment, environmental study. Okay, they have a lot of research that they can predict, okay, how the world are changing in terms of you know, this world climax and so on. So based on the experiment, the data, they can do a prediction, and with that prediction, they come up with the theories. Okay, when they can link all those findings into one pattern. Okay, so this is the four rules of theories that we can use as part of our research. Okay, especially in information management or in IT study, we need this theory to back up okay, whatever our finding, and to identify what are the related theories that we can use when we start our research. Okay, to come up with this research framework. Okay. Okay. The theories also is part of the used to underlying theories that is a main theory that used for our research. Okay, as I said before, we use the theory, okay, as a underlying theories that related to our research, and we need theories also to support, okay, what our next action, okay, to support what our direction for our research. Okay, and we also can, the theory is a possible theory that can use to our study, but you have to to have some rationale. Okay, you have to justify. Okay, why the theory that you choose in your study, okay, in your research, that suitable, okay, and related to your research, and what is your research direction. Okay, so this is an example or category. The nature lah, I can say is the nature when we use the theories. Dropping theory is about to discussion of the theory is dropped after literature review and not revisit. Okay, so these are theory that something that we refer, and maybe it's not suitable when we go further. Okay, because when we start any research, we actually normally lah, in normal cases, when we start, if our new in that field, when we start our research, we have no idea about what we are going to do. Okay, just looking for the literature and find the most related theories that's suitable with our research. Okay, theory positioning. Okay, when we have the theory, for example, okay, you have your theory, for example, in any theory, okay, ada theory in science, non-science, social science, and so on. Okay, we need to introduce and understand. Okay, understand the theory, how we positioning the theories. Okay, how we can adapt this theory as part of our research framework. Okay, something that very important, that's significant to our research. Okay, because we need to position in good, design. We need position in a good way, so that when we propose our research to the framework, so that framework can help us to move our research and continuous improvement to what we are doing. Okay, and then the next one is about the theory diversification. Okay, it's about the multiple theories, okay, that introduced in their relevant of the study, because some theory maybe we need to understand clearly, okay, about the theory that we use before we adopt to our research. And theory conversation is about the contribution of particular theory. Okay, because when we have the theory, a lot of scholars discuss their own theory, how we can understand, and how for us to not challenge, but we refer as a scholar also and analyze. Okay, what other theory can contribute to our research or to support, as I said in the previous slide, how these theories can support to whatever our research or our scope of our research. And the next one is about the theory application. How are we going to apply? Okay, because when we, for example, you want to have if in my study, maybe we look into the theories of user experience, for example. So how are we going to apply, okay, the theories in order for us to improve, okay, the user experience when they are using the IT system or information system. So we apply which theory that can support, okay, our research, and how we can go further, okay, in that particular area. Okay, then we need to test, okay, in research activity, okay, before we go further, we need to develop the framework. We need to look also into the theory testing. How we going to test, okay, the theories. Okay, normally we test the theory on empirical validating and existing theories lah, because we don't have any idea what is the theory, our new theory that we found from our research, but we need to test first. Okay, and the last part is about the theory generation. So from all activity that you conducted in this process, suggested by researcher, okay. So then you can build, revise, and expanding the current theory and create a new theory. So this is the part of the process and analysis step. Okay, when you want to develop any new theories or as part of developing the research framework. Okay, for example of the theory, okay, absorptive capacity theory, social cognitive theory, and organizational learning theory. So what are the differences between these three theories? The first one, okay, absorptive theories, capacity theories, okay, it's about the ability to identify, assimilate, and transform and also apply a valuable external knowledge. Okay, then we absorb the capacity on quantitative or scientific, either on technological information. Okay, and the ability to identify, okay, and assimilate this and transform the theory. Okay, the second one is about we to conceptually assimilate information processing theory. So this is also a part of these theories. I mean the introduced by Cohen. Okay, and the theory specified the distinct dimension about to absorptive capacity. Okay, either acquisition, okay, assimilation, transformation, and exploitation. So sometime when we to conceptualize all these theories or framework, so we need to reconceptualization of the absorptive capacity. Okay, because we need to understand what are the related theories that can be the fundamental component for our research framework. Okay, to see all these some in terms of diagram, we can see from here how we can apply okay, this absorptive capacity theory. Okay, for example here, they have some connection between this knowledge source complementary and toward the potential and realization. So this is the I mean the mechanism that we can use these theories, so on. Okay. I think this we can refer later, but the most important thing, you need to understand the concept, how we're going to use, I mean, to understand the main role of the theories, so that this is one of the aspect that we can absorb, absorptive capacity theory. Okay. Okay, about the social cognitive theory. Okay. When we discuss, we need to understand the social cognitive theories is to provide a framework for understanding, okay, predicting and changing the human behavior. Okay, so this is also an important role of the theories. Okay, to see the social cognitive, I mean human behavior as an interaction of a personal factor behavior and the environment. I mean the interaction between these two factors lah. I mean about the personal factor, I mean the human factor and the behavior and also the environment. Okay, in the model, the interaction between person and behavior involve the influence of the personal thought and action. So this is about the social and the cognitive of the human. Okay, and I can say that the social cognitive is helpful to understand and predicting both individual, even the group behavior, and identify the method of the behavior and modify, okay, the between these result and how we're going to modify the behavior and also the individual, either individual or the group. Okay, so far, how's going on? Okay, I can proceed.
Yes. Any questions?
Okay, any question?
If you have any questions, I think it should be okay, Doktor, kalau
Okay.
ada soalan.
Okay. Oh, I go. I continue. Then
Yes,
maybe we
please.
have some Q&A later on. Okay. So for more detail about this social cognitive theories, okay, it's about the determining the human behavior. Okay, human behavior. Okay, cognitive factor also the personal lah. As I said, cognitive personal involve human. Human, the insight of the personal factor. Okay, about the knowledge, their expectation, and their attitude. Okay, and when we focus on behavioral factor, it's about action. Okay, skill. Okay, how we can project our behavior. Okay, on skill, practice, and self efficiency. And if we're talking about the environmental factor, we look into the surrounding, our community. Okay, the access to the community, how others influence, and also the environment. Okay, in some cases, the environmental factor also can caused by the nature of the platform. Now we are very active in using the online or cyberspace. So maybe this is part of the environmental factor that maybe can disturb, some of the to how we determine the human factor. Okay, about the social cognitive theories. Okay, this one, some of the example lah, how we use this, adopt this technology acceptance model, and some of the, how we do some conceptualize the process. For our framework. Okay, this is also an example. And the third part, okay, the role of the theory is looking into the organizational learning theories. Okay, what organizational learning theory stated that in order to competitive in the changing the environment, okay, organization must change their goal and action to reach those goals. Okay, so that means the organization must be very agile. Okay, as long the changing of the environment. Okay, and they need to respond to the any circumstances that be linked to the action of the outcome and the environment, the changing of the environment. Okay, and then this is when we talk about the organizational, it involves the group of individual or group in the organization. And organizational learning has a many similarity on psychological and cognitive research because initially learning take place to the individual level. Because organization learning is not about the organizational, but it's about the component. The composition of the organization. How they need to learn, to continue to learn, share information, and it's the for can we say that is a accumulative of behavior or accumulative of effort that shows by the individual within this organization. Okay. Sorry. Okay, we also can refer to this diagram. What discussed. For example, about the sensing, the memory, belief frame. So this is how we model. You can see the cycle of organizational intelligence cycle. Okay, because the component of organizational learning theories is about the sensing, how we can find, okay, can select those information and the organization knowledge, and the perception about how we represent, okay, the information or the classification, or and we need to interpret what are the information, what the organizational learning capability on meaning and analysis, and then can start with the adaptive behavior, the changing of the behavior, okay, about the organization. Okay, this is some diagram shows what we have discussed now. Okay, about the organization process input and learning organization output and the impact, the knowledge, how the flow of these organizational learning theories. Okay, and when look into this conceptual framework, this is an example of conceptual framework. Okay, how we project, okay, our framework into something that visual that we can clearly understand, okay, what are the related theories that be as a fundamental for our research, okay, our concept of the framework. Okay, for example, here innovation strategy, we need to focus on technology push and market pull, and about the organizational learning, and we have this the firm size, the ownership size, and the product of innovation performance, project performance, or commercial performance. Okay, so this is only the example. So when you design your own research framework, this is the way how we adapt some of the theories okay, and how we compose into one model, not a model, the framework that we refer, okay, as part of our research component or scope lah. So we can understand clearly about the framework of our research, then we can manage our research carefully, and we hopefully will be a successful research. Okay. And we go to the next section. I think before we go further, any question from the previous lecture, from the discussion just now, before we move to another section?
Doctor, I think it's better for us to wait to the Q&A sessions. Better?
Okay. I proceed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. For novice researcher, it should be happened to me before also when I was a PhD student. Is the differences between theoretical framework and conceptual framework. So it seems like almost similar, but they have a different purpose and different anatomy and different direction or perspective where we look into. Okay, so from the diagram here, maybe we can see some differences. What are the difference, major difference between a theoretical framework, okay, and conceptual framework? Okay, before we develop the conceptual framework, okay, we need to understand the theoretical framework. Okay, when we need to understand our effort to understand the theoretical framework, okay, we look into this diagram. Okay, as everyone can see the diagram. Okay, in the inner, how to start? We start from the bigger the bigger circle. Okay, so conceptual framework. Okay, so conceptual framework is looking into something more abstract. At higher level, is happen at conceptual level. Okay, conceptual framework. Okay, so normally we look into two direction, either from conceptual framework into a data. So that one we will look into objectivist deductive. Okay, from general to specific. Okay, and then when we look into our direction, or when we look from another perspective on subjective inductive, okay, develop and refine the theory from data, we look into specific to general. So that are the most differences. The major differences. Okay, we go to the first one, the outer circle, conceptual framework. Okay, conceptual framework. Okay, it's about researcher construct and logical develop argument to justify the need of the study, and it shape the study design and guide its development. And the most important thing, we look into why the research is important. Okay, and also how does it contribute to the new knowledge. Okay, up to conceptual. Nothing nothing to do with the theory. Directly to the specific theory for our research. Okay, it's about the importance. So maybe you can lot of research you want to conduct. Okay, you need to understand first. Okay, this research, okay, is very important to solve what problem, or to contribute to what type of new knowledge that you want to the outcome lah, the outcome of your more generic conceptual. And then when we go down more detail on theoretical, then you understand, or you identify, okay, related theory that form the conceptual framework. Okay, what are the theory that have been very important to support the conceptual framework? Okay, because normally conceptual framework can be understand to those people that outside from your field, or from your domain of expertise, or domain of industry. Okay, and then if we look into theoretical framework, those scholars or those people that around your industry, I mean, that related to your field, more closer to your field. Okay, that theoretical framework. And normally they're more structured because they need to refer to several theories, and then we need to look into the theories. But it depends on the nature of research, because in some research they start with the grounded theory, some research they look into the observation, to the concept, and so on. And the most important thing when you design the theoretical framework, okay, is about the how does this theory shape to your study. That means the backbone, about how what I can say is a backbone for your research. Okay, concept is more generic, but theory a little bit specific, theory framework. Okay, then to form framework from the theory, we need a several theory. Okay, theory that be a fundament, I mean the basis for the theoretical framework. So theory, the raw theory, I mean, you maybe we can look into other finding from other researcher, okay, to get the better idea about the theory itself. Then the theory comes from the data. So we have to repeat all this process when we do our research. Okay, either from objectivist deductive approach, okay, or from subjective inductive approach. Okay, so you can look detail in this and try to understand about this figure, so it can give more understanding, okay, to the student. And this is the process that everyone, any researcher, or any scholars, when we want to develop a new theory, especially when you conduct study at PhD level, this is the process that we need to go through. Okay, I think I have explained. This is just a reference, or maybe more on some reference that you can refer later. Okay, a research as a structure that provide guidance. So framework as a structured guidance. Okay, so you can fine tune later, because when we start the research, as I said in previous slide, okay, at the first year, or at the first early stage of the research, we are still doubt about what is our research is all about. Maybe we have a scope, but maybe you need to fine tune some of the finding, or the based on the theories and based on the development. For example, when you study about 4 years, maybe there are new theories that come out, you have to include also in your study. And once data are collected, you analyze, and the framework will be used to mirror. I mean, you can check, okay, because before you collect the data, you cannot cross check, or you cannot compare to your framework. Maybe you have some adjustment to the framework, but you must have the framework first, so that at least you have the guideline or the guidance, how you're going to use, I mean, to plan your research focus or research activity. Okay. And theoretical framework refer to the theory. Just now we explained about the conceptual framework. Okay, the framework in general, but theoretical framework refer to the theory that researcher choose. Okay, it's a collection of the theories, okay, that you choose for your research. And theoretical framework is applied of the theory and the concept, as I explained, and they have some to have the particular phenomenon of research problem. So you must have some justification. Okay, maybe that research have maybe some improvement need to be developed or improved from the previous theories. Or maybe in some research, you want to challenge the theory. Okay, so that also a part of the direction. But you must have the theory first. Okay, that's why we call it a theoretical framework. Okay. So another thing that also important, okay, when we want to prepare the research framework or conceptual framework, the most important thing, the researcher have to synthesize, okay, the existing theories or existing literature, okay, what theories is all about, and how this theory can be used for our research. And at the end, after we got all those data, we can conduct some empirical finding, either to support or to challenge or to complement. Okay, and synthesize may call the model or conceptual framework. So this is defined by some other researchers also. Okay, Smith. Okay, and this is the thing that to understand. And also, when we want to have the conceptual framework, that is about the inductive process. I think I has explained throughout the diagram just now. This is just a repetition from what I'm saying, or I'm explained throughout the diagram. And the conceptual is derived from the concept. Now we go by its definition. Okay, when we talk about concept, they must happen, or the component of the framework, it's only at the conceptual level. But when we go to the theoretical, they have to look into several theories that you use for your study. Okay, this is also important to know about the conceptual, how the relationship, I mean how the flow, I mean with the concept between the conceptual and theoretical framework. Okay, as I said, conceptual framework, they work side by side on the theoretical framework, and conceptual, it means to set a related concept. Okay, because the concept, the concept that you use to develop the framework, but the theories must have in the theoretical framework. Okay, I think everyone have been very clear about the concept and about the theory. Okay. Okay, when we look more detail about the differences between theoretical framework and conceptual framework from quantitative or qualitative perspective, okay, they have a little bit differences. Okay, for example, as I show in the slide, okay, quantitative research problem, okay, they more to identify the theoretical structure, okay, and about the deductive approach. Okay, remember, quantitative research problem, it more to apply the deductive approach. Okay, you can imagine the diagram just now, and apply the theoretical framework to a research problem. So this is the step, how the relationship between these two different framework. Okay, when we look into qualitative, normally we synthesize the concept on relevant concept. Okay, synthesize the relevant concept from various conceptual framework. So as I said, when we look into this qualitative, is more on inductive approach. Okay, and after we find out all these, synthesize all the relevant concept, then we apply, okay, to the problem. Okay, if you see the pattern, the similarity of this one, anything, if you want to develop the theoretical framework or conceptual framework, it must based on the research problem. Because when we do research, we need to entertain the problem. So what are the benefit of our research to solve not all the problem, but some of the identified problem. Okay, that mean very focused to our research. Okay, so this one some differences lah. I mean, you can look into this later, but what I want to highlight here, okay, is about the scope of application. Okay, when we look into the conceptual, in some research, they only look up to the conceptual level. Okay, mostly in social sciences, but theoretical framework, normally they look from the scientific research or maybe technology based, because they have some theory before they have a theories that, I mean, the relevancy of the theory, it's more important. Okay, and social science, I'm not sure, so I cannot say it's preferable, but it depends on what is our research, okay, scope and direction. Okay, but when you do your literature and so on, so you will understand which one is important to your research. Okay, but in some research they have a combination of these two framework, but normally you can choose either one, either on theoretical framework or conceptual, but depends on your scope, right, and your direction. Okay, we move to the next the next topic. Okay, how are we going to use this research framework, okay, in qualitative and quantitative or mixed research. Okay, as I said just now, for qualitative research, okay, maybe you can start without any framework, okay, because maybe you can start with the grounded theories, or maybe after you have the grounded theories, then maybe you can start develop the framework, because it's a combination of the theories that you selected, but you need to compose into one framework so that you have a basis and direction for your research. Because when you do research, sometimes if you not properly develop your framework, okay, your research will be go wild. Okay, you can't control, okay? Because when you do research, after you find new things, you keep doing new thing, then the research is never stop. So this is what happened to me also before. So I unable to scope our research because the research framework is not clear. Okay, it's this big, and maybe it's out of my capability that time, or because of limitation of time. Okay, because most of the student, if you do research, or maybe if you do, undergo the PhD program, okay, you have 3 to 4 years only. Okay, so that is not enough if you know want to do, conduct very complex research, but you need to have the framework that you refer. Okay. Okay, for quantitative research, okay, when we deal with the quantitative, of course, we need to look into data. Okay, data that, it's as if you can remember the slide, the diagram, the data is more specific to support whatever analysis that we conducted. Okay, normally when we deal with this quantitative research, okay, research will develop the theoretical framework, okay, after doing theoretical review. Okay, in our context, maybe when we do literature, we're not looking into the concept only, but you need to look into a theoretical part. You need to criticize the theories. Maybe the theory have some limitations, so you can use that as to identify the gap. And from your study, you can fill in the gap, and from your study, you can complement and continue the previous theory. You improvise the theory from the previous researcher. Okay, either to adapt, integrating, or construct a new theories based on from the research. Okay, and another unique application on research framework, when you want to develop the research framework, they have when you deal with a mixed method, okay, research. So this is a little bit complex, okay, because it involves both. Okay, in your study, they involve both quantitative and qualitative. Okay, so it's a little bit complex, but I think you need to develop very careful when you apply for mixed method research. If you want to develop this type of framework, it's a combination technique. Okay, so far so good. So far so good.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, so maybe okay, now we go a little bit deeper into what we discussed tonight. Okay, so after we understand about the concept, about the theoretical framework, the conceptual framework, we go detail on the data. Okay, data, as I said just now, the data. So data is the data is a basis lah for our research. Without data, we cannot conduct the analysis, and the result of the analysis is very important for us to draw a conclusion. Okay, what are the conclusion of our finding? Okay, but you need to understand about the variable. I think anyone here, well versed about the variable. So this is also important when you want to design or develop your theoretical framework or conceptual framework. Okay, so any concept or construct that varies or changes in values. So that the concept. Okay, the main type of variable, okay, normally lah in any research or any analysis or model analysis, especially for quantitative analysis, we have six types of main variables. Okay, the first one is dependent variable, independent variable, moderating variables, okay, mediating variable, or intervening, and control variable, and confounding variable. So what are there? Okay, what are the differences between all these main type of variable? So we look one by one. Okay, dependent variables. Okay, what you understand about the dependent variable? Okay, normally when we use the short form, we do a DV, biasa DV and IV. So this is the common when you discuss with the supervisors and we discuss with the lecturers, or maybe if you discuss among those postgraduate students, or maybe when you got now undergo your postgraduate study, this is a common. Okay, so dependent variable is a primary interest to the researcher, because this is the dependent variable, the goal of the project research, and you need to understand, okay, this very carefully and to predict or explain a variability of this variable. So this is the first one, dependent variable. You have to set what are the dependent variable, okay, for your study. So this major, the very important variable, okay, to highlight, okay, because this is the thing that you want to explore further. Okay, the second one is independent variable. Okay, so independent variable, okay, the differences between the dependent and independent. Okay, independent is influence the dependent variable, okay, either positive or negative way. Okay, so it also they have a lot of variance in DVs and accounted by the IV. That means the independent independent variables, okay, can influence the dependent variable. So it depends on you how you look into these these differences. But the type, they have two. One, you must set one dependent and one independent. So it depends on how you look, okay, your research focus, the research perspective. How to give the example here, but maybe we can look later. Okay, we understand first the definition and the nature or type of this variable. Okay, if you want to see the variable between IV and DV, okay, independent variable and dependent variable. Okay, so research study indicate what successful new product development have been influenced on the stock market. This is an example, okay, of the company. Okay, and then what is the more successful the new product turns out to be, and the high will be stock market price of the firm. So this is the how okay, which one is a dependent variable? Okay, anyone? Okay, product development, new product development, or
Yes.
stock
Anyone,
market?
please guess. Anyone?
Anyone?
Which one, IV and DV?
I think DV is the product development and the IV is stock market price. Maybe.
Anyone? Any other option? Anyone agree? on her answer. Who's on the line? Nor Alice?
Yes, I just try.
Okay. Okay. Actually, it depends on your perspective. Your perspective. So, if for me, I think is based on this statement. Okay, research study indicate a successful new product. Okay, successful new product. Okay. Why echo? Ada echo.
That's another answer.
Ni ada answer?
Yes, Doctor. I think Zafri and Mavis.
Okay.
I think also is the stock market price is the DV and the new product development is the IV.
Okay. So because the dependent variable is a product development, new product development, and stock market is independent.
The other way.
The other way. Okay. So you're right. Okay. Because if you see based on the definition, the development is influence the stock market price. Okay. Okay, we go to the next slide. I think that's right. Okay. Okay, this is the answer kan. Okay, independent variable is the success of a new product. Okay, and dependent variable is a stock market because we depend on the stock market. Okay, independent because they not depends on anything from the statement. So independent, they independent by itself because the success of a new product and depends on several variable. Okay, depends on stock market. There are lot of dependence variable. Okay. Okay. This is about the relationship between availability of reference manual manufacturing and have access to the product reject. Okay, this is another example when the worker follow the procedure. Okay, which one? This one. This is talk about the relationship between availability of the reference manual and have access to the product reject. Okay, between product reject and have access to the reference manual. Okay, I proceed dulu. Okay, dependent variable number of project. Okay, independence it's availability of reference manual. Can you see the pattern, the differences? I think it's quite straightforward. Okay. Okay, we go next. So the session will be 2 hours, isn't it?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, I proceed.
Yeah.
So another importance, a variable type of variable is the moderating variable. Okay, normally we use the MODV lah, moderating. So what is this moderating is about? Okay, moderator variable is a one that affect the direction. Okay, and or strength of relationship. Okay, independent and dependent variable. The direction. Just now we just know the relationship, but when we have the moderating variable, okay, so it's a determine or affect the direction strength. Okay, so normally moderator variable is normally examined when the relationship between x and y, just now we have two, okay, from the previous example, is produce conflicting result. Okay, and then assuming there are 10 study and investigating the relationship between X and Y, 5 study found positive, and 3 study found negative, found no relationship, and 2 study found negative relationship, and it is appropriate to identify moderator variable. So what you understand from here, I think in some cases, they you have to use the moderating variable. Okay, it depends on I mean, if we have a lot of very complex I mean complex problems lah, for some complex problem you want to solve and you do analysis. In some cases we need the moderating variables. I think it depends again from your study, your scope, and your I mean direction. Okay. Or maybe if Dr. Nozaidi have some additional to add to this, just
It's okay, Doctor. I will revisit the roles of moderating variables in our class later.
Okay, good.
Yeah?
Okay, good.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is another example. Yeah. Although the relationship is true in general for all workers, but this is not true for workers who are not using the manual every time. So back to the same example, and we need to have some moderating variable, okay, to understand more about this relationship, okay, either on interest or inclination. So this is another category of variable that we can use in our analysis, okay. So that we call it a moderating variable, okay. Okay, and then from the same example also, we can see that this moderating variable is prevalent theory and diversity of the workforce. For example, here we can use another moderating variable such as differences of origin, ethnic, and then ethnic origin, race, and nationality. So this is not the main core variable, but the variable that can influence also the direction or the result when you do the analysis. Okay, so that the concept that student need to understand. Okay, for example here, another moderating. Okay, for example here from this one. Okay, that's why we need to come up with the framework. So with the framework, we can see clearly what is our scope or our focus in our research, so that you can develop. You can visualize, okay, your framework or your variable that related, okay, from your study. Okay, for example here we look into the workforce diversity, okay, and organizational effectiveness, and we have the moderating variable, okay, as a managerial expertise. So workforce as diversity is independent variable, and dependent variable is a organizational effectiveness. So they have a lot of item, okay, in that particular variable also, okay. And moderating, and also the next variable is mediating variable, okay, mediating, MED-V, MED-5, okay, is one that surface between the time and the independent variable start operating to influence the dependent variable and the time of their impact. Okay, so we check again. Okay, so back to the similar example. Okay, similar example. Okay, maybe sometime the group of worker, they have their own specialties on skill and to the workforce. So this can also influence our analysis. So you need to consider also this type of variables, okay, when you do some analysis. So it's come back to what you are looking for. So it depends again on your scope of your research and what you are looking for from your research work. Okay, if you see this from this example, okay, for the mediating variables, we look into this the first one. Okay, from that example, independent variable is the organizational effectiveness, and independent variable is workforce. Okay, and intervening variable, okay, that surface as a function to the diversity of the worker. Just now lah, diversity, about the creativity, their skill, and how they adopt this one is expertise skill to the workplace. Okay, it's not about the workplace, the expertise and skill to the workplace based on that individual skill and talent. So how to draw the model? Okay, it's about time. Okay, just now from this example, it's about the time. Okay, and how the creativity synergy result from the diverse workforce interacting and bringing together together their expertise in solving the problem. Okay, there's some other consideration. Okay, when you want to do the analysis, but you need to know before you do the analysis. That's why we need to develop the framework first. We need to understand up to this level. Okay, so that your framework will be solid, and it must be, I mean, it will be make your life easier when you start conducting your research, you're executing your research activity. So you need to understand up to this level. Okay, as I said, you have to develop a very good, a very clear research framework, so that at least you can minimize, I mean, the changes, or you understand before you conduct the research or execute the research. Okay, I think from this example we can, okay, we can use as example, and we can understand more about this. Okay, another variable that also need to consider, or maybe you use, or maybe you not use this variable, but another variable is also important to understand, is about the control variable. Okay, what is a control variable? It's the variable that is not in the focus as part of the research, but it existed, okay, has certain impact over dependent variable. Okay, because at the beginning you not realize, but to make sure your research is run smoothly, and it's I mean complete, it's look complete, because when you do research, maybe a certain aspect you not trigger at the first place, okay, at the beginning. Okay, so you need to add something that, I mean, another control variable to make sure you can control all those analysis or data, or I mean research, direction or scope that you have designed. Okay, and this is also important. Okay, and sometimes this control variable you can act as to monitor, or as a constant, or maybe you can suggest this variable if they have impact, minimal impact lah, whether it's observed more on the relationship between IV and DV. So it's not how to say this one, it's something you can control. Okay, you have to have control variable is not included in the part of after statement. So this is it depends again, okay, on your variable that you define. Okay, you have to because we have this solution lah, so we have, you can use this control variable when it's needed. Okay, how we going to apply this control variable? Okay, from this example, I okay, we can see from here, we can use control variable. Okay, maybe at our scope, okay, at beginning of our scope, we not realize this variable, but when we conduct, or when we go further from the literature and so on, we identify something that also important, but this is not the main variable, but it's also important. It's fall under control variable. For example, for this one, how to control I mean this outsourcing benefit. Okay, because if you read this one, it's about knowledge sharing. Okay, initial trust, initial distrust. I'm not sure additional variable as a control variable. For example, here is about the project size, project type, and prior relationship. Just to make sure you can have a better result when you do the analysis. Okay. Okay, and then another variables that also important to understand, and maybe you need to decide whether is importance or not to use. Okay, it depends again on your nature or confounding variables. Okay, so what is so confounding? So this okay, sometimes this confoundant can influence also, because sometimes in the first or in the beginning of the research we not realize, but maybe this also can give more to to discuss or to highlight more on what you are doing, or maybe when you use this variable, but you can clarify more about your finding. Okay, because this we can use this variable as an extra variable. Okay, what it's used when it's needed only, and maybe when you do analysis, then maybe you can add this compounding variable. Okay, to produce a result. And confounding variable can sometimes you must be very careful, because if you are not using the right way on confounding variable, they can affect the entire of the research work or research analysis, because so this is that also need to consider. Okay, and for example, if you run some experiment, so independent variable sometimes they need some treatment lah. I mean the additional for variables, but they're not the focus. I mean the variable is not the focus in your research, but they can influence the analysis, or maybe they can clarify more on the analysis. Okay, so if you have more variables, it shows that when you do your research, you consider a lot of things. Okay, how this variable influence not only very simple analysis. Okay, but again, it depends on the scope of the research and the deepness of your study. Okay, the deepness of the issue and this the deepness of the study lah. Okay, and this one you have to do more research, okay, to look into this, because that this is normal when you design your research framework, or theoretical, or theoretical, or apa tu theoretical framework, or conceptual framework. Okay, so this is quite common, because there's a lot of things that you need to consider when you do a research, and so they will come when you do more study, more literatures, critical review, and so on. You may found something that importance to your research, okay, and the variable that importance and significant to your study. Okay, this is how we use, or I mean some example how we're going to adapt this ataupun to develop this to focus on confounding variable, how we can adopt this. Okay, for example here, independent variable is the cause, and dependent variable is the effect or outcome. So they have another factor, okay, that also important, okay, to give some significant analysis, okay, for both relationship, or for the both independency or dependencies. So that fall under confounding theory. Okay, confounding variable, sorry. Okay, so how to say that one? So you can use this confounding theory to not to say to normalize, to give more definition or to give more explanation lah, to what you are looking for, okay, in your study. Okay. So how these all related? Okay, variables, construct, dimension, okay, and latent and concept. Okay, for basic understanding, or maybe to differentiate all this, variable and construct are using interchangeability. That means you can use variable and construct, okay, in many ways. Okay, you can okay, and then variable of construct can be a unidimensional or single dimension or multi-dimension. Okay, because when you develop the variable, the construct and dimension, so this is the concept that you need to understand. So for multi-dimensional variable or construct is also known as a concept. Okay, because when you have a lot of variables, okay, and you have a lot of theories, and you're looking into several dimension or perspective, okay, for to construct, okay, your framework, so that become the concept. And sometimes the concept is also known as a second order of structured equation modeling. So that one, when you get all those data, so what are the final direction, okay, based on your variable, your construct, and from your perspective of looking things when you do your research. Okay, so they're a little bit complex, yeah, but sometimes you just adjust a few construct everything, the result will be different. So it depends again on how you look into this perspective and how you change some of the variables when you do analysis. So that will be more complex. Sometimes you cannot, you not realize at the beginning, and when you start doing your research, when you get your data and anything, then everything, then you start realize, okay, how this variable can be used, the several types of variable can be used to make sure your analysis will be in a very good fit, a very good result, so that you can interpret more accurate, more consistent, and more more consistent and reliable. Okay. Okay. I think this one we can skip this one. Okay, I think this is the last part on hypothesis and conceptualization. Okay. Normally how you start your hypothesis or conceptualization? Maybe I need some feedback from the student or the participant. How you start your hypothesis and conceptualization?
Yes,
in your
anyone?
research?
How to start hypothesis from your proposal?
Or maybe you can share your hypothesis or your hypothesis in the research, or anyone haven't done the proposal. I think at least, okay, I need some feedback. Okay, maybe sample of hypothesis or maybe the concept of your study.
Yes.
Because
where is Zarif?
How to say that one?
Zafri, sorry, Zafri. Where is Zafri? Zafri?
Anyone?
Or Abid? Could you please share your hypothesis? Anyone? I'm not sure whether they already set their research idea or research topic, Doctor.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Doctor only starting to think about the title of the project.
It's very early, yeah.
I think you need to use my approach. When I doing research, normally when I share some ideas of research with the student, I'm using my own technique that we develop with my team. Okay, we are using this
I think is it
research
from the problem statement?
No, I compose it into one framework. Okay, and one canvas. I think in business we have research, we have business model canvas, but to start up research we have research ideation canvas. Okay, so me and my team had developed based on the grounded theories and some analysis of a few master and PhD theses, so that we can see a patterns. Okay, patterns, how we're going to start our research and how to conceptualize, okay, our study based on the problem. Then we can develop the hypothesis. So from that, maybe I can share later, okay, not in this session because we not enough time. Okay, maybe if I got time, I share at the end of the session, maybe the canvas, so anyone can have. So normally when we start to conceptualize and start developing the hypothesis, we need to very clear about what we are doing. Okay, of course we're not clear at the beginning. Okay, we're not clear about at the beginning. Okay, we start with some problem. Okay, it's a problem-based solution. Okay, problem-based approach actually. Okay, so but how are we going to conceptualize, okay, all those problems into a nano idea? Okay, nano idea, that means a smallest unit of the research idea. Okay, because you need to conceptualize. Okay, it's not the final conceptualization, but the concept that you want to refer when you start your research. Okay, maybe they're different after you go a cycle of the analysis or literature review, it might be changed. But you need to have 3 components, okay, when you want to have idea for your research. Okay, I just share a little bit about the concept of the canvas. Okay, when you start any research, the 3 things that you need to focus in your mind. Okay, in your mind. Okay, the first one is about the, I always share with anyone, okay, anyone not on a specific field of study, but in various field of study. Okay, you need to think about your body of knowledge. Okay, okay, what you are proposing, okay, within your body of knowledge, what new things that you want to propose, okay? Because for example here, I think most of the student here, the participant in this session, it's come from information management. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes,
Doctor.
Okay, information management. So what is opportunity that you think is very important to be explored? Okay, I mean the gap, okay, in the study. Okay, maybe you want to focus on information system management. So what are the flaws? Okay, what are the solutions that you can give? You have to think not the broad scope of your field, but a specific scope. Okay, so that you can scope your direction of your research. Okay, for example, maybe you can start with some problem on data. I mean, cybersecurity. Okay, for example, cybersecurity. They has a few more scope. Okay, for example, we focus on high level scope because we not go up to detail yet. Okay, the first one is about the nature or the body of knowledge. What type of body of knowledge that you are focusing? Okay, specific, not generic, very specific to what you are proposing. Number 2 is what are the solution? Okay, the solution. Okay, either you provide the framework, either you provide a new theories, either you provide the empirical finding. Okay, okay, what are the things that you want to produce? Okay, okay, and the last part, okay, okay, the last perspective that you have to focus is the benefit. Okay, the benefit of your finding, your research. So how you so this is the perspective that you have to look into, and from that you conceptualize based on the theories, concept that available related to what you are doing or related to what you are proposing in your research proposal. So 3 things. Okay, the body of knowledge. Okay, the scope. I mean the body of knowledge. Number 1 is what I said just now. The solution, okay, solution that you are proposing, and the benefit, because these 3 things can lead you, okay, to develop, Okay, another level of research idea up to micro idea. Okay, so that one I will continue in my another session. So that one, so maybe you can start that 3 things first. Okay. Okay, how to conceptualize? You from the slide, okay, I have discussed from almost 1 hour, almost 1 hour. So you come up with the framework. So framework is a combination of all those theory, the theory or concept. Okay, either theoretical and conceptual framework. Okay, so how to conceptualize? Okay, how to conceptualize? Okay, there's 6 more slides. Okay, if we look into this research process, hypothesis, okay, hypothesis, it's pre-conception, conception the researcher developed regarding to the relationship presented in the data. Okay, typically based on the theory, practices of previous research. So this is the definition of a hypothesis. Okay, what we understand here, okay, the pre-conception is still the hypothesis. Hypothetically, it's not proven yet. Okay, something that not proven yet, we call it the hypothesis. It's our prediction, okay, our assumption. Okay, it's the way we write the hypothesis, it's a different, okay, it's different.
Okay, excuse me, Kautam. Fatima, will you please mute your microphone?
Okay.
With interruptions.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I just sorry.
All right.
Okay, so the concept, the understanding about hypothesis, because I heard a lot of students, lot of response from the from various disciplines. Okay, when we write the hypothesis, they blank. They only see hypothesis. It's more to scientific research. Okay. So if you understand what is hypothesis, it's about preconception. Okay, something is not proven yet, but our assumption, our jangkaan, okay, our prediction, our assumption. Okay, and how we develop the hypothesis, we need to have the understand the anatomy. I mean the component when you write the hypothesis. Okay, for example here. Okay, for example.
Excuse me, Kautam Fatima, could you please mute your microphone? Fatima. So how to, shall we, hold on.
Okay.
Fatima, excuse me. Tak dengar doktor.
Tak dengar. So macam mana? I nak proceed ke?
Okay, alright, thank you.
Okay, so you continue. Hypothesis. Hypothesis. Okay, there is a conflict, not conflict. When we start, normally when we apply any research or research grant, okay, they have a section on hypothesis. Okay, mostly on non-scientific or non-technology, they're a bit confused about hypothesis. So a hypothesis is very simple actually. Okay, it's about preconception of the research developed regarding to the relationship represented in the data. Okay, typically based on theory, practice, or previous research. That's very simple. Okay, for example, from the slide, okay, this is the way how we write the hypothesis. Okay, if you read from here, the average number of cup of coffee drink during final will be greater than average they consume at another time. Question. What is the question? We need a proof. How we can come up with this conclusion? It's not proven yet without experiment, without the data that we analyze, without data to support our hypothesis. So it's still at hypothesis. Okay, before you go to the theory, they have still an hypothesis. Okay, so the second example, okay, younger, okay, part-time employee of somewhere restaurant are more likely to be searched for the new job. Okay, where is the data? It is based on the analysis. So we need the data to support this hypothesis. Okay, for example, okay, currently we have not huge problem, but problem COVID-19 kan. I mean, there are a lot of hypotheses come up. Okay, okay, for example, to prevent this disease will be more serious disease or infection on COVID infected individual. Okay, they said you can drink this, you can use this medical treatment and so on. So we need a data. So the when we have the enough data, then you can prove that hypothesis. Okay, so anything that we preconception is a hypothesis. Okay, as long they're still not yet be proven by analysis or data. So that hypothesis. Okay, I can say maybe how to say that one, but I think it's quite straightforward. Okay, I think inshallah everyone have understand what the meaning of hypothesis. That's a good enough. So if you understand the hypothesis, that can help you to trigger more research idea. Okay, I think after this class, anyone have to submit all the hypothesis to these supervisors. Okay, or submit to Nurse ID. Okay, make sure they submit the hypothesis.
Yes, it's part of the plan actually.
Hypothesis. Okay, so with the hypothesis, we cannot do research. How? Okay, we cannot plan. Okay. So okay, I proceed. We have still got time. Maybe we can set enough time for Q&A. Okay, another things that also important, okay, to understand about the conceptual model. So as I said, when you develop the framework, it's about the kerangka. Okay, the framework, it's very high level. But when we develop the model, it's related with integration or combination of several variables, so that we can see the conceptual model. Because model, they're much more related to the data and variable. Okay, so from the concept, from the theory, okay, from the framework and model and data. Okay, so they have relationship. I mean, they all integrated. You need to understand all this concept. Okay, for example, conceptual model. So when we identify the independent variable is a price. So what is the dependent variable? So we need to model in terms of how to say model. It's it's something that we can follow lah. You can follow the model. So we refer to the model of analysis lah. Okay, normally when my student do research, or maybe a lot of student, okay, for example, when we do analysis we need the model, the conceptual model. I mean the conceptual model, how we going to analyze this data. Okay, for example here, so from the conceptual model, okay, we can see clearly what is the component of independent variable and what is the component of the dependent variable, and also what is the component of moderator variable. Okay, so we can see clearly from the model. Okay, model, okay, like we have developed a new car, we have a model. It's fully designed. I mean, they developed fully designed, but the model at small scale. Same like this. We not do analysis yet, but we have a model to follow. Okay, so it give you more direction. I mean, they help you a more direction and scope for you, okay, to conduct the analysis, collect the data, and develop the hypothesis more, easier, okay, more easier and more accurate. Okay, they have, of course, they have some additional variable to be included. Maybe maybe they still have some modification on your model, but you have a basis model, okay, in your research. So this is the thing very important, okay, when you go and discuss, because when you have a model, so when you discuss with your friend or your colleagues or your supervisor, you focus to one model that you agree, okay, in your study. So they have can help you much on that, because when we discuss, we don't focus into one model or conceptual model framework. So every time we discuss, they still changing. Every time you discuss, they change a lot of things, but you not read or written well all this in term on the model. Okay, so that can cause problem later on. Okay, so this is another example how we use this or we visualize the conceptual model, okay, based on the variable that we identify, okay, perceived value, purchase likelihood. So we can see, okay, the patterns or the flow and the scope. So what is our research is all about. So we can be more clear what we are doing. So this one, another example also, okay, on mediating and moderating effect. Okay, so they have some additional variable, so that thing can give more clarification to your research. Okay, so this is we can apply also this another additional variables, okay, moderating and mediating. I think everyone have been understand, okay, what are the differences and how to use this variable in your study, okay, in your scope of research. So another example, I think this is I think the last one, I think so. Maybe if you want to explain this, so it can give you the, when you develop the conceptual model, they can give you a better understanding on presenting, okay, your research work, okay, your research proposal, and the audience also can understand clearly about detail on your research, okay, not on the framework, it's about the process and the component, the importance in your research, but they want to know up to your variable, what are the related variable that significant, that be very important to your research, okay, and some other related variable that also can give better result or analysis, okay, for your research. Okay, then I think when you understand all this, you have to conduct some exercise and so on. So within the exercise, okay, you try to put all those understanding on the context of your research, so that you be more understand about what we are discuss for tonight session. And I think that's all for tonight for my lecture. Okay, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be part of the lecture, a guest lecture for this subject, okay, for this session. And maybe I will pass back to the moderator, okay, maybe they have some questions, or maybe want to add something on my presentation. And okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Associate Professor TS Dr. Zulkarnaen, for very enlightening and comprehensive presentations, on the right way to develop a research framework. And we appreciate having this session with you, and I hope the gray area clarified. Yeah, so we really appreciate that. All right, now let's go to Q&A sessions. Okay, any questions? Anyone? Any questions?
Assalamualaikum,
Okay,
Doktor.
Hafizi. Yes, please
Ya.
Hafizi. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Di sini. Doctor, one question. I was informed that we should have our research paradigm, such as positivism, constructivism, and also pragmatism for mixed method research. My question is, can our research paradigm influence our choice of theories that we will use in our theoretical framework, or should it be independent to each other?
Okay, come back to the focus of your research direction. But for me, when we start with looking into this research paradigm, okay, so there is a still need to look into what I call it, the theoretical framework and also the conceptual framework. Okay, because the paradigm shows how our perspective. Okay, that's the common. But for me, we still need, okay, to have this, because sometimes our paradigm, okay, we need to use this framework, okay, to explore more people to understand our paradigm of the research. Because when we see, because the paradigm for me, paradigm is the more on the high level. Okay, the paradigm, the perspective lah. I mean, either you look from deductive or inductive. Okay, how from generic to specific, or from specific to generic lah, to general. So that is my personal view on that lah. But anyway, when we conduct any research, this is from my experience experience with the students and so on. So when we try to explain or try to highlight or present our research proposal, research idea, okay, as clear as possible. Okay, as clear as possible. Okay, either we can use all those the understanding that we discussed tonight, okay, and how we look into the paradigm. So it's depend from which perspective we will look, because they're not the single right or wrong when you do a research actually. So I think when you go further, maybe in some study, okay, they go to that approach, either deductive or inductive. So in some research we can do both, because as Dr. Madya, Dr. Madya ke doktor lah, Dr. Madya Hafizi, okay, said you apply the mixed method, isn't it? Okay, so they can come both lah, either deductive or inductive. Okay, that is my personal view lah on that.
Alright. So thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doktor. Saya student lagi.
Yeah.
Doktor lagi.
It's okay, it's okay. Yeah.
Inshallah.
Okay.
Alright. So another questions? Other questions? Ada lagi soalan? Alright. Let's refer to the question from the message from the box. Question by Zafri. Generally, people say that when we work, theories that we learn before will not apply 100%. What is Prof opinion? Alright.
Come again.
Okay. Generally, people say that when we work, theories that we learn before will not apply 100%.
Okay.
I think this is a very classic debate regarding theory.
Okay.
Because some author or some researcher said that it is a waste of time because especially in social science, we create or we propose a theory, but then in reality, we are actually not applied it 100%. So what do you think?
Okay. So when we talk about theories and applied, okay, so because when we do research and we do any studies, sometimes we need to explore more about the theories, because the theories maybe is not workable directly. Okay, maybe the theories is is preparation for new ways of process. Okay, when you have the theory, maybe that theory is part of the solution. It's not the 100% solution, because when you work, you already applied the generic knowledge. Okay, when you do research, it's only a small part, especially if you do your master or PhD, it's just a small part of the finding. Okay, for example, I always tell a student about when we want to develop something. I'm a technologist and ICT and so on. Okay, if you realize, when the first smartphone it's be production, when? Okay, so how the development of the mobile devices have been grow. It's not by using single theories, okay, research that we found. Okay, for us to get this technology, they have, I think thousands of research have been conducted. That's why that the importance of the research. So anyone, or I think all researchers, they understand on this. Maybe the practitioner, they need to see something that applicable, okay, direct to their context.
Yes.
Okay, so that is my opinion lah. But by the way, for social sciences, they based on several factors. It's not about the technology, because the technology is more generic. Okay, they have some standard to be followed and so on. But in social sciences, they have several factors, okay, that influence, okay, the theories itself. Okay, because some of the finding is based on regional, okay, regional data, okay, that maybe is not accurate enough for that, I mean, to apply in other cases. Okay, I think I explained it clearly on that. But we have to do research. Okay, we need to appreciate any single research and effort that we conducted. Who knows, these theories or this finding can contribute to more better future or better improvement. Okay, that's why we compose all the theory, all the concept into one conceptual. So by hoping that we can develop a new solution, okay, from I mean, to continue the previous research. Okay.
Yes, Doctor. I agree with you. We actually cannot completely rely on our personal theories for our work or any decision due to influences of many factors. Many factors. For example, our nature, culture, and then politics, and economy, and so on and so forth. All right. Next questions. There's one question from A. Yusuf. If we discover another variable that will affect the DV, will not it be another IV? Instead, we treat it as MV. Just a little bit confused. I think this question is the introduction part just now. Ada kat sini tak, Yusuf? Maybe you can ask directly to our guest lecturer tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam. Please proceed.
Okay, I'm sorry, just now I a little bit confused because Dr. said when we have IV linked to DV, if we throughout our research we find another intermediate variable that will affect between IV and DV, we treat it as a MV. Bukan ke kalau kita find another variable kita boleh treat it as another IV instead of MV, Doctor? Can you explain to me when we shall treat the new finding of a variable that we can label it as a MV?
Okay. Okay. When I think this one, all the researcher will know because you know the scope of your study, because okay. Normally I will say to the student, okay, I will advise sometime when you do research, if you want to include as a DV or IV, so the variables it become big. You know, it's a major focus for your study. Okay, so you still maybe you can add something that very important to your research. You can add as either as a DV or IV. Okay, but how to say that one? Maybe the moderating too is maybe the influence or affected to between all these two. If you think that be necessary to be add as a either new independent variable or dependent variable, you still may do that. So it depends again to how you want to solve. I mean in your scope of your study too. So I can advise on that, but I think you have to I mean to explore further. Okay, because that's why I said whatever we discuss here, I will explain how to use this one and how we can be applied. Okay, because you will decide which are relevant to your study. So that because I not understand everything about your research. So that's I think your supervisor we can advise you better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some models are very unique
Yes.
to your research.
Again,
nature.
it will tak ada yang betul, tak ada yang salah kan, Doktor?
Tak ada. It's okay.
Okay.
Even though data when you collected, it's based on your
Okay, let
findings.
me explain. Assalamualaikum.
Okay.
Ya, Dr. Mat.
Salam.
Salam.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Dr. Nick, for your presentation. Okay, let me explain about
Yes.
what was question given by Yusuf. Regarding moderating. Actually, we're talking about moderating independent variable. Definitely, we found that there are conflicting results from previous studies. This one agree, this one disagree. Therefore, we can put as moderating variable. Inputting moderating variable. Don't simply put moderating variable without looking at previous result or previous studies. Yeah. So please read carefully and also identify clearly.
Yeah, Dr. Mat.
Where do you want to locate independent variable, moderating variable, as well as dependent variable? Because moderating variable and put directly just like that. No, cannot. Yeah, we have to look at previous research and also previous finding, either it conflicting each other or not. Yeah, you understand what I mean? How you so?
Okay, noted, Doktor.
Yeah.
Cuma tanya first part tadi tak berapa clear, Doktor explain. Putus-putus.
Which one?
The first yang first part. I hear yang ujung-ujung saja.
Okay. We cannot simply or blindly put moderating and create moderating variable without looking at previous research finding. Make sure we really know and also confidently that previous research variable conflicting each other in terms of result. That one we can put a moderating variable. Example, digital skill. When we found that some research conflicting or not consistent result, whether digital skill can influence performance or not. A may say that yes, they agree digital skill or digital literacy can support performance, but B contrast and also conflict with A example. That one is conflicting. That one, if that case, you can put as moderating variable because that one not consistent and also not convincing. We want to put as independent variable. You understand what I mean?
Yes, Doktor.
Yeah.
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah. So,
Yes, Doctor.
that's
Clear,
why
Doctor.
we have to look at previous research and also,
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahir.
Okay.
I believe in research we need to relates our study from the previous study and look for previous research or data to support our study as evidence. And I believe from Dr. Madhe explanations, this is the end of our sessions. It's already 9:45, and if you have any questions further, mungkin Dr. Nick, you can share your email letter. Mungkin Dr. Madhe will share with you Dr. Nick punya email address or phone number for communications letter or for reference letter. And Dr. Nick, again, terima kasih banyak kerana meluangkan masa and be with us for 2 hours. Membantu dalam memberi pencerahan mengenai frameworks and model dia, teori dan selama 2 jam tadi. So again, thank you very much. And untuk mengakhiri program pada malam ini, boleh kita buka kamera, please switch on your webcam. Kita nak ambil gambar. Please switch on your camera. Switch on. Suzaini ada nak tanya ke?
Tak ada, Doktor. Tak ada.
Ada? Okay. Alright, please switch on your camera. Okay, kita nak ambil gambar. Alright. Ada lagi? Ada lagi? Mungkin yang lain baru nak bersedia. Okay, kita bagi beberapa saat, 1 minit mungkin. Okay. Ada lagi? Ada lagi yang nak bersolek? Alright, so yang lain mungkin tak ready. Okay, 1, 2, betulkan rambut masing-masing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Ada lagi yang nak on camera? 1, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So, itu saja. Terima kasih. Kita ucapkan terima kasih kepada Dr. Nick atas sesi perkongsian pada malam ini. InsyaAllah kita akan berjumpa lagi pada masa akan datang. And there will be another 3 episodes or 3 series of our research methodology talks. And our next sessions, our speaker, our guest lecturer from universities of pendidikan, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia and Universitas Indonesia, and insyaAllah from Universiti Malaya. So kita akan tunggulah tarikh-tarikhnya. Kita akan we will advertise the dates, and I hope that each of you can attend or participate in the next sessions, insyaAllah. And again, thank you very much Dr. Nick. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thanks all.
Thank you.